Okay, so I just got a tattoo here that you can't fully see, and I'm feeling super high and like just super, yeah, on a different level right now. So I'm going to be talking much more calmly than I usually do. And I wanted to share because it seems like so many people, myself included, or you know, astrologers, light workers, spiritual workers, like people fucking holding space for other people. It seems like for all of us, we've gotten to a place right now in the astrology, and really this whole year, 2020, with the Saturn Pluto conjunction that I've spoken to a million times, that other astrologers have spoken to a million times, and it like continues to be a thing. You know, we're like working with this energy throughout 2019, and now in 2020, these two planets that come together every 35-ish years, like, it's not any subtle thing. Like, it's a huge motherfucking deal. Whether you know anything about astrology, you believe in astrology, like whatever, it doesn't really matter, because all throughout history, these time periods have been marked with huge events, like huge fucking events, significant life-changing, world-changing events. World War, like the World Wars, World War One, the abolition of slavery, 9/11. Yeah, these huge historical events that have happened when Saturn and Pluto come together. Saturn and Pluto. Saturn, the planet of our physical world, our boundaries, the structure, the foundation of our lives, how we show up in the world. And Pluto, the planet of death and transformation. And Pluto wants, if I could just like rip out what it is that I'm feeling and give it to you, I'm trying to like convey all the things that I'm feeling in words. Pluto's the planet of death and destruction and transformation, but okay, let's back up. So Pluto represents, again, death and destruction and shadow material, like our shadow selves, obsession, jealousy, manipulation, power plays, control, addictions. Fuck, yeah, that's a big one right now, addictions. Yeah. Okay. So all the stuff that we've been hiding, that's been beneath the surface, right? This is Pluto. The stuff that's beneath the surface, Pluto is going to, it's evolution at all costs. Pluto wants us to go beneath the surface to get those things, to bring it up here so we can look at it, we can acknowledge it, we can work with it, we can heal it, we can transmute it, we can transform it. And this is the high expression of the Scorpio energy, right? Transmutation, which is to take something not good, like something negative, something darker, and turn it into something useful, turn it into something else that is helpful for us, that is healing, that is of the light, if you will. And okay, so I feel like for all of us, to a certain degree, we are having to face the shit that we haven't wanted to face for a long time, that we could have, you know, we were holding on to these, maybe it's addictions, maybe it's people. I feel like this is a really big thing right now, like learning to love yourself, because these relationships or these substances or these different distractions that you would use to like numb yourself with, to distract yourself with, to not fully look at the root cause of like the suffering in your life, or like the dis-ease or the discomfort. You know, maybe we would use these things, we would turn to our work, we would turn to a partner, we would turn to a substance, we would turn to shopping, we would turn to fucking, we would turn to food, whatever, turning to something that once gave you a false sense of security and safety. And with Pluto and Saturn coming together, it's like, nope, not gonna happen anymore. It's just so funny. Yeah, it's funny. You have to laugh or else I'd cry about it. Because it's literally like, taking the rug, ripping the rug out from under you, like all these fake things that your life was built on, or it was wrapped in the foundation of your life in some way. Saturn, the planet of our foundation, like the structure of our lives, whatever's not in integrity is going to be burnt to the ground. Like Pluto will burn it to the ground and there will be nothing left. And it's the Phoenix. Yeah, again, you have to laugh or else you'll cry, which I do both, but right now we're laughing. Yeah, it's the Phoenix rising from the ashes, right? So it's like, this is the high expression of the Scorpio energy. It's like having to fucking be burnt to the ground, to hit rock bottom, to sit there with your shadow self, to look at all these things that you haven't wanted to look at, that we have no choice but to address right now, because we can see it so clearly how it's fucking with our reality. Like how these things are holding you back. And on the other side of all of this shadow work is a new life. So anyways, I didn't finish the Phoenix story. Yeah, it's crashing and burning and going to the ground, sitting there with your shadow material, and then rising up from the ashes and committing to being here, committing to being alive, committing to source, to God, to your higher power of your choice, committing to sharing your medicine in some kind of way, right? That is the high road of the Scorpio energy. It's like they go to the depths, they go down into the shadows, and they bring up, what's useful, what we can work with, what is ultimately healing and helpful. So yes, that's what is going on. And for a lot of us, I think, relationships have really been shaken up this year. And I think that a lot of people just, what's been reflected back to me via, me asking what's going on for everybody and doing astrology readings and holding space for other people, it seems like a lot of us are learning learning how to be in a healthy relationship. But first, we have to do that with ourselves, right? We have to really look at the relationship that we have with ourselves. And we can't fully show up in anything. We can't fully show up in a partnership. We can't fully show up in life, in a job, like in anything, if we're not tending to our internal world, if we're not doing the shadow work, if we're not taking an honest look at the coping mechanisms, the addictions, the ways that we numb ourselves. Maybe it's just like you shut down and you detach and you disassociate from your body. Maybe it's not even using a substance. It's just like not addressing the shit that needs to be addressed. But I feel like right now we really have no choice but to look at these things. It's become so apparent, these things that are no longer working, that we cannot take with us moving forward, like stepping into this new life. And that's what I feel like this Leo new moon was. It was like a flash into that. But in order to fully step into this new life, we have to move through a lot of uncomfortable shit, right? And Mercury's going retrograde. We have lots of retrograde planets this year. Mercury's in Pisces. Like a lot of old emotional material from the past, attachments, wounding, all of those things needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be looked at. And we have to show up in new ways moving forward, right? So in order to do that, we have to support ourselves in new ways. We have to seek help and seek guidance if you need it. We have to stay committed to our self-care and to the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves so that we can show up fully. Like we can be our fullest expression. We can be a fully functioning human and show up in the world because we've tended to all of these things that were like underneath the scenes, like in the undercurrents, right? In our subconscious. That's what the Scorpio energy wants to do. It wants to bring these things up to the surface so we can look at it. So it's not just operating underneath the scenes and controlling us like without really being aware of it. So yes. So whatever you need to do at this time, like for me, I've pulled back on the amount of readings I'm doing. yeah, for a period of time, I'm just like, or, some weeks I'm just not doing readings because I need to hold space for myself. And I've seen like a lot of other people, yeah, doing similar things, just really needing to put your self-care like number one right now, especially, yeah, if you have other stuff happening within your chart, like we all have our own personal birth chart. So depending on, yeah, how the current aspects in the sky are interacting with your personal birth chart, we're all going through a little bit, different things, and it may be a little bit harder time for different people, but I think for all of us, this is energy that that you don't experience every day, right? Pluto and Saturn coming together every 35-ish years, like it's not a thing that happens all the time. And I think we are really becoming aware of the weight of it, the severity of it, the seriousness of it, and and it feels heavy and it feels dark at times and it feels destructive. I mean, it's like it's a deconstruction of how things used to be. But on the other side of all of this, like, yeah, it's a dying off of all these old things so that we can step into a life that is in way more alignment, that is something that we've never done before. But again, it's going to require us to level up in a whole new way, like in again, in a way that we haven't done before. So yeah, so let's just be gentle with ourselves and know that everybody's going through it on a different level, in a different way, but we're all processing similar things. It's a wild time in the world. It really is, like this conjunction that happens very rarely. A lot of us, this is the first time we've experienced it in this lifetime. So yeah, we just breathe and we slow down and we just allow, like, whatever emotion is coming up, whatever experience is coming up for you, and your body has a strong reaction to it. It has a strong emotional response or some type of reaction. What can we do in that situation other than to slow down and to be present with it, right? To not abandon yourself like maybe you've done in the past, abandoning yourself by pushing that emotion away and like immediately doing something else, like maybe reaching for a distraction, maybe smoking, maybe just moving, like doing something where you're not acknowledging or eating or shopping or whatever, or you're just detaching and disassociating and like going into another world and not addressing what is actually happening within your body. So I think for all of us, we can slow down and we can allow ourselves to be with whatever it is that we're experiencing, no matter how uncomfortable it is in our body, because I think a lot of these experiences that we are going to be moving through are going to be super uncomfortable. We have Venus conjunct Chiron. It's a wound, a primal wound that we have. We need to work through some deep primal internal wounds that we've had since maybe childhood, but so it's not going to be super like light and fun to work through this stuff. But on the other side is healing, it's openness, it's love, it's expansive, yeah, like heart-centered energy, in trying to keep that energy as you move through these experiences that are uncomfortable. And we can do that by just being present with ourselves and by breathing back into our body, slowing down, like, when you're moving through an experience that you have a strong reaction to, we can pause and we can be with ourselves. We can not abandon ourselves, and we can breathe. We can notice where it is in the body. We can